Love Lies Bleeding was directed by Rose Glass, the filmmaker behind Saint Maud. So in 1989, gym manager Lou, played by Kristen Stewart, meets a bodybuilder named Jackie who's working out at the gym, and they fall in love. But unbeknownst to Jackie, she just got a job with Lou's father, who she's never met, who just so happens to have a shady past that threatens to upend their relationship. But before we get into the rest of the video, I do want to give a special thank you to today's sponsor, Helix. Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to fit your needs and conveniently shipped right to your door. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections, the Helix Plus, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, and the Helix Kids mattress designed for growing bodies and endorsed by child sleep and medical experts. Everybody's different, and Helix knows that, so they made a sleep quiz that matches your unique body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Based on your different sleep positions and firmness preferences, they have something for everyone's unique taste. If you sleep with a partner, you can take the sleep quiz together and find something that's the perfect compromise for both of you. Based on my preferences, Helix matched me with the Midnight Luxe model. Ever since I was a kid, I've always had lower back problems. It's genetic. Both of my parents deal with this as well. I've had to go to a chiropractor for most of my life since I was a teenager, even physical therapy. And so sleep is very important to me, and usually it's aggravated by poor sleep now that I'm older. And my experience so far with the Helix mattress has been that I've slept better and gotten up feeling much better than I did with my previous bed. This also has the Glaciotex cooling cover, which keeps your mattress cool at night and actually extracts heat from it. The best part about all of this is that Helix delivers your mattress right to your door with free shipping in the US. The mattress comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up yourself. And if it makes you nervous to buy something you haven't tried, Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love it. Plus, Helix mattresses have a 10-year warranty, and they even offer financing options and flexible payment plans, so a great night's sleep is never far away. I love my Helix mattress, and I think you will too. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix Sleep. You can click the link below or go to helixsleep.com/Chris Stuckmann to get 20% off your Helix mattress and 2 free pillows. Thank you so much to Helix for sponsoring this video. When it comes to sophomore efforts, making your second film after you've already had a critical darling like Rose Glass did with Saint Maud, I can imagine that that was a strange feeling for her to have to try to prove herself again, because making a good film right out of the gate is hard enough. But now you got to prove that you're not just going to copy and paste what you already did and make the same film again but different, but that you can handle a larger budget. In this case, Love Lies Bleeding is a much bigger budget than Saint Maud, but also prove that your abilities are varied and diverse enough to be able to make a third and a fourth and a fifth movie for the rest of your life, keep making movies, while also still making something that's kind of like the first one, so at least people know what you do and you can keep getting hired. It's a really strange time, and it's very difficult to get that second thing going. And when it comes to Love Lies Bleeding, I enjoyed Saint Maud. I love this film so much more. This was one of those movies where the first shot hooked me so much that for the rest of the movie, I was just waiting for it to disappoint me. You ever feel that way, where you love the way a movie opens so much and you think there is no way they can sustain this because it's just gonna disappoint me, because that's what happens with movies, right? The camera descends out of the stars and into this seedy, sweaty gym filled with rippling bodies and sweat, blood, and tears. I read an interview with Rose Glass where she talked about the fact that she's not really familiar with this area. She's not from America, but she wanted to make a movie that told this story, and originally it was actually going to take place in Scotland. If you look at old sports documentaries of bodybuilders from the 1980s and 1990s, you get to look into the window of that world and sort of peek through the blinds. And if you imagine watching a VHS tape of what a bodybuilder competition in the 80s might have looked like, that's what Love Lies Bleeding feels like. The whole movie has a layer of grime to it. The production design, aesthetic, and the set decoration and props, everything looks a little filthy. Close-ups of payphones, the numbers don't look brand new. It doesn't look like somebody built a payphone for this film. It looks like they took a knife and scratched through the metal and put graffiti on everything. Everybody's sweaty in this film. Everything has a layer of grease to it. The movie looks amazing. I've seen tons of TV shows and movies that take place in the 80s. It's a very popular aesthetic right now. Stranger Things really took that to the limit, and it's even getting a little old now to say that your movie takes place in the 80s. I have not seen one that feels so authentically correct, because a lot of what's in this movie bled into the early 90s, the outfits and the payphones and the technology. It's not like that all just vanished in 1990. It's clear that Rose Glass and all of her team thought extensively about every single detail. Everything from the vending machines to a poster on the wall in a hospital that reflects a medical scare of the 1980s that everybody was talking about. I cannot praise the team behind the look of this movie enough. Let's talk a little bit about Kristen Stewart. She's an actress that has made very unique choices for years, all the way from Panic Room to Spencer. Whether it's a big franchise movie or a small indie, you never exactly know what to expect from her. After her Oscar nomination with Spencer, following up with this film, which is in a way a thriller with horror-adjacent elements that also has a lot of dark humor in it. This is one of my favorite performances that she's ever given. She's asked a lot of here. She has to convincingly fall in love with someone, have excellent chemistry with that person. There are elements of horror in the movie. There are action sequences in the film that she has to pull off well. And she's got to supply this character with flesh and blood. You have to believe that she's real, that she's had a life and a past. And the film has a very interesting way of exploring that past as well, with sequences tinged in red. You see some of them in the trailers. You begin to realize things that have happened to her without having to be told. Katy O'Brien as Jackie. You may have seen her in The Mandalorian. She is perfect casting. Apparently she auditioned 6 times for this role, and she clearly earned it. A competitive bodybuilder herself in the past, she obviously knows the ins and outs of this character, but what's asked of her is not just to be in such impressive physical shape, because the physical side of Jackie is in direct contrast to the emotional side of her, which really needs to win this competition, which needs to feel like all this training she's done will pay off. And when the wrong thing happens to her, it just sets off this chain of events where you are sort of revealed the humanity inside of her. And you can see all of that on the screen. And that's because Katy O'Brien is so open and so damn good here. More than that, the movie is devastatingly romantic. I believed every single aspect of it. It all rang true to me. A lot of that is to be attributed to these performers being willing to do just about anything. And you can really tell that Rose Glass just made a horror movie because there are a lot of gory parts here. Some very shocking gory parts that are handled really well. Like things you see just for a second that leave you kind of with that image in your mind, burned honestly into your mind. There were people in my audience, which was packed by the way, that gasped a few times with some of the great makeup work that's done here. Speaking of audience reactions, I am so glad I saw this movie in a packed theater because there's a scene in this film that had my theater in an uproar. People were clapping, people were shouting, people were saying, "What?" Some people were laughing. It had this crazy ripple effect in the room that I have not felt in a theater. I can't remember the last time I have felt an audience move like that, almost like doing the wave at a baseball game where everyone just sort of like undulates and reacts in a different way. It is clearly a scene that will polarize people and will absolutely be talked about for a very long time. And I loved seeing something that was that audacious on the big screen. Ed Harris is also great here. He enters the pantheon of really terrifying villains with really terrifying hair. He can join the ranks of Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element, or even Will Ferrell's Mugatu from Zoolander. Not everyone is going to appreciate Love Lies Bleeding, just like every movie that's ever been made. But I do think that there will be some people who don't quite like the way the film resolves itself because it is not a typical ending. It does what it does, and it says, yeah, that's the movie I just made, and I hope you like it. And I really appreciate that. I miss movies that take big swings like that, that pose questions to the audience and make you kind of laugh and think to yourself, how absurd was that? What really just happened? And can someone explain it to me? Or do I even want it explained? Do I kind of like that I have no idea, but I love the experience? I love this movie. I will see anything that Rose Glass does at this point. I think people who like films that take big risks should absolutely go to the theater and support this one. Guys, thank you so much, as always, for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.